Yes.
Okay, so we're live a couple minutes late. My fault, technical difficulties. So for all one of our viewers or as many as we get this evening, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Richard.
Here we go. I hope people appreciate those intros because I spend a lot of time ignoring my wife and kids while I make them while I'm sitting on the
That's
couch.
very sweet of you.
Okay, so it's Monday. We're here to talk about Black Widow, Loki season one. I don't know where Richard's at. We were sending a few texts back and forth, so we're hoping it doesn't turn into a Phase Four critique, Marvel Phase Four critique. But we have some thoughts on the matter. But before we get to that, take it away, man.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Weekly News with Richard. As always, we start with our top 5 movies at the box office. And Black Widow's reign at number 1 is over. Just 1 week long. So quickly, yes, so quickly. 1 week. So here we go. Sorry, I'm doing that thing where I'm pretending like you guys can't see my eyes. So at the beginning of the program today, my computer that I normally do this on just will not turn on. No clue what happened. So I had to switch to another computer, and so all the tabs are out of place, of course. So Space Jam was number 1 with 31.7 million. Black Widow in second at 26.3. Escape Room, Tournament of Champions. All of you who've been asking for that movie, you got it, and you went out and spent 8.8 million on it. F9 stays.
I heard
in
that
the top.
the escape room has a fan base. I had never heard
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
right. Yeah, I mean you can't make almost $10 million at a theater. If you don't have a So F9 with 7.6 million, and Boss Baby Family Business rounds off the top 5 with 4.7 million. 3 of these movies were offered to you from home, so you could have seen Space Jam, Black Widow. You can see Space Jam for the regular price of your HBO Max from home, so that's almost a no-brainer. Black Widow could be rented for $30, and Boss Baby was free on Peacock with with the subscription to Peacock. So that's going to make it hard to be competitive out there. All right, seeing a lot of what's that word I'm looking for here? Reviews of Space Jam. And I'm seeing a lot of people having to remind people that Space Jam is a movie for kids. I don't know how much you come across this, Ryan, but you're in that perfect for the next 10 years with your, or more with your kids, where you understand and appreciate when a movie's made for kids. And but somebody out there was looking for Space Jam to be, we talk about it all the time with the remembers or the members. Remember me, they want what they had. And I think the Space Jam core audience is your age, Ryan, or maybe a little younger. In the mid '90s when it came out.
Definitely my age. Yeah.
I know Zach, Shanna's son, watched it on repeat when he was a little guy. Again, and it was new. It was, I don't want to say groundbreaking, but it was different. It was different at the time. So what we see though. I don't think LeBron is as universally loved as MJ was at the time. So I think that might be one reason. Kids aren't growing up on cartoons anymore.
No.
And listen, if 10 years from now, is it Coco Melon? Is that the girl's name? Or the
Coco Melon, but I call him Cucumber Melon just to make fun of him.
Yeah, right. Well, that makes him feel good. If Coco Melon and Joel Embiid make a movie 10 years from now, more kids are going to know who Coco Melon is than do Bugs Bunny, and listen, I know this happens all the time when people are listening to us or something. You're like, oh, my kids know who Bugs Bunny is. No, yeah, fair enough. You do, but the vast majority of kids do not know Bugs. All right, and Black Widow in second place. We'll talk more about that historic drop off in our main area. And who knew? I was like, who knew that was an historic thing to do? Emmy nominations hit last week, and I won't bore you with the entire list. because I'm sure with how it ties into the things we talk about, we're going to do an Emmy-centric show, probably closer, maybe even do our picks. But great showing from Boys, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, tons and tons of nominations. But the one that seemed to make the most news was Don Cheadle getting nominated. I think they said for like 93 seconds of work. So congrats to Don Cheadle. Ryan and I were texting earlier in the week about like, how does this go down? And like, how does things get nominated and all that stuff? And we don't quite have an answer. You know, obviously shows will nominate themselves to be nominated. And then, you know, I'm sure there's a committee that picks it, and I could see them knowing who Don Cheadle was. And that's why, you know,
but I was cracking up at the title of the article where it said Don doesn't get it either. Like, that's
hilarious. Everything I've seen. Yeah. He definitely was not like, I deserve this. So, so Marco Theo Hall, better known as Biz Marquis, passed away a couple days ago at the age of 57. Yeah, so I'm sorry. When I get the news, sometimes I try to paraphrase it without, you know, because again, as a librarian, I should just give credit and read what the news is and say, according to this. But, you know, listen, we know him from, you say he's just a friend. It's an earworm that gets stuck in your ear. You know, you say he's just a friend because, baby, you got what I need. And, yeah, but so he passed away. It was one of those, again, everybody knew him. So, and in another case of we talk about it and things happened, and I think directly because of our show last week, Brittany can now hire a lawyer. Yeah, I think they heard us. Word got out there. I think having you know, almost all of your, I know John was with us, having almost all of your staff on the same show we got it done for Brittany, so she can hire a lawyer. And this, I think this is where, when we see this kind of support for her, that's when people who used to be critical of her, I think it's because, like, we just want to see, like, if she screws up, if she hires an idiot lawyer, like, the key is it's her choice. You know, like, she's, you know, so, yeah, looking forward to see what happens with that. And remember, for all the latest news, most current things, Ryan blows me away with how often he posts. So great job. And again, like, I get most of my news now from Ab and I, probably just Facebook. I mean, yes, again, follow it. When I say follow it so that way you get notifications when Ryan posts these things. So that I'll look down and be like, Ryan's tagged you in a post, and it's like, oh, who knew that? Which brings me to my last segment, Ryan, and I don't know if you're prepared for this or I'm throwing this at you, but
yes, I am.
I'm going to make this a regular part of our news segment, and that's anything that because again, you post 800 things, and then I decide I want to talk about 3 of them. Anything that you want it covered?
There is something that I want to cover. I'm glad that you saw it.
Wrote it. I see you wrote it. Has it been there the entire time? Okay.
I got it ready. I pulled everything up. Excuse me. This one's a big one for me because, and I think that you'll have it. We're going to try to not make this another podcast to those of you that are listening, but Richard and I may have a tough time doing that. I had no idea that this film was coming back into production. Remember, last we heard Joss Whedon was going to do it, and everybody was like, that's a great pick. He penned Buffy, right? Took it all the way through. So he's great writing that the female lead, the action star. So Joss Whedon was, you know, slated to take care of the film, and there was rumors like we want Emma Stone and, you know, a redhead because Barbara is a redhead. Right. But now we have these other 4 talented actresses. Apparently, one I forget her name. Excuse me, but she Haley Lou Richardson, who apparently was in Split. I haven't seen it, but she was in Split, and she may have stepped out. There's rumors about that, but the other 3 are heading towards the screen test. Now, again, it's just like it goes back to the same thing that Richard and I have said since we've been doing podcasts, which is just DC, you continue to just drop things on top of us. You know, hopefully you have it put together because Batgirl, and I think Richard can attest to this as well, great storyline if they do it the right way, depending upon which storyline they pick up. Great female lead action character. She's smart. She's athletic. She's strong. She's independent. Don't screw this up, DC. But this was the one thing that when I saw, I was like, this is what I want to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. You nailed it. Don't screw it up. And Yeah, we'll see. Because I just started, and I should have done it a year ago. I just started Titans on HBO Max.
Same.
And just start because I keep seeing ads for the new season. So, but again, like I know that there's going to be a Batgirl in that, and it's just like I wish everyone could be on the same page because Marvel. Sorry, so it sounds like we're kissing up to Marvel, but and again, Marvel isn't perfect, but yeah, they have a TV side, and everything on the TV side and movie side are all together. So, DC just do that moving forward. Because all those great WB shows that had some really neat things, they're not in the timeline. So hopefully they can do something with this Batgirl. And again, Ryan was alluding to it. I don't know, you try out the success and maybe save Killing Joke's story for the second movie.
We'll do that right away.
or wow, I don't know who in WB is listening to this, but do you straight up end it with Joker?
Oh, just leave us there.
Open the door and Joker shoots her. Yeah, and then just
leave us there.
Or just follow the Marvel thing a little bit too, and Batgirl story ends like that. After credit scene, Bruce Wayne being told about the shooting. At his house. And then we'll see Batgirl and Barbara next in Batman. That's so. All right, let's get right into our main topic.
All right, so our main topic is going to be. Give me just 1 second here, just to put it on in the background. All right, so we're going to start off with the biggest drop off in MCU history. Sorry, we're not trying to be mean, but we're going to start off with. What's going on here?
I got to say
Black Widow. All right.
Black Widow. Okay.
So, Black Widow. What are we thinking right now?
I mean, so you've seen everything. You watched it.
So I've seen every. Oh, and if you haven't seen it, spoiler alerts.
Oh, sorry. Spoiler alerts.
If you're watching on the internet or you haven't seen it yet.
I mean, technically, other than when we discussed the last end scene, nothing that occurred or really happened. Everything happens in like a week or so from the end of Civil War. At the end of Civil War, Black Widow shows up to break out Falcon and Cap. So between them getting arrested and her getting away, she's on the run. This movie takes place. Though it starts us off in the past, where we get to see what I was genuinely surprised by that little backstory that they gave her, because I was wondering how, from all the previews and stuff, they were talking about them being a family. They were talking about, this is a superhero. So I was like, where does this all come from? So it was neat to see that they were undercover spies. She knew she was a spy. Her little sister did not know she was a spy, and it was kind of cool. They were just if anyone's seen The Americans, they were just like an undercover American family who had to go on the run, except they were being chased big time by S.H.I.E.L.D., and it was a very, really cool action scene.
I was going to say solid opening.
Solid opening.
Yeah,
without any costumes, and told the story of they were not a complete family. It was all pretend. The little girl who played Natasha, Black Widow, in the opening scene is actually Mila Jovovich's daughter.
Yes, I did see that.
And I realized I butchered her name, and I don't even actually know. I don't even know the little girl's actual name, but it was kind of cool to see that. Yeah, because Mom is a pretty cool action hero in her own right. So.
Oh yeah. I with all the issues I have with the Resident Evil franchise, she really carried it for what it was worth. She really put it on her back and carried it 100%. Yeah.
So, like I said, we're here. It's kind of towards the end of Civil War. Natasha's on the run. She's got a little buddy which I don't really feel like they even told me that guy's name, who would always hook Natasha up with airplanes and stuff and helicopters. And because again, I'm sure some super fan would be like, oh no, that's John Smith, and he helps her out in these miniseries. I'm like, okay, I did not read I did not read that. So, um, but that's yeah. So he's in there. They're helping each other, and Yelena is part of the Black Widow team that's still in Russia. And I don't know why I'm doing it like I'm telling the whole plot. I realized I was just doing it. I was like, all right, I am now explaining the plot.
It's all good.
Yeah. So Black Widow, there's her family from Russia. Circumstances happen. They realize that all these Black Widows are kind of like hypnotized or mind controlled. They have the cure to get them under mind control. Taskmaster, they are chasing them. So it is.
That's a separate topic.
That's a separate topic, which I gotta go. Reminds me, when I'm done, I'm gonna go look in the storage unit for a book.
Okay,
blowing up right now.
You wrote a blog about this. Sorry, not to cut you off.
Yeah, no, please.
You wrote a blog about this, so I'm going to ask you. You said that you weren't going to be disappointed one way or another, that you were just going to enjoy it and take it all in and obviously assess at the end. And I think you said you would enter with the mindset that this isn't going to lead to Thanos, directly. We're not going to see too much of that. So I guess my question for you, and this is going to tie into something that I texted you about earlier. Is it a standalone film? Was it 7 years too late? Did they do it just to give Natasha a film because they felt like they had to? Where are you at with the film itself? And I want to ask you because you're the comic book fan, you're the MCU fan, and I'm waiting to see post-blog what your review is right now.
Oh, yeah, I should have done that. So I really enjoyed the film. I never even thought about the idea of like, oh, it should have happened, in line. I don't know if, and that's kind of the question we'll reference. My next thoughts a little later too is, like we have this idea in our mind of everything's planned out, but I think they at some point went, hey, let's do a Black Widow movie, and here's an idea. Like, did they have this idea 7 years ago? And that's the thing. Like 7 years ago, would it have just then tied into getting them to the next, And again, I guess the case of being made, everything still fits. It doesn't alter her. But would they have had that idea, or would they have been too worried about continuing to push the Thanos agenda and everything that was going? So I didn't mind where it was. I do like when a good prequel or whatever this is called, a mid-equal, is done. And,
mid-equal, yeah.
Yeah. And they did a great job. I'm saying 50-50 on the internet, like in terms of complaints, and because people just, but I'm sorry, everyone likes it. I think everyone likes the movie. They're just
I liked it.
The negative I'm seeing is just they're annoyed it didn't happen sooner.
Have we been spoiled? Have we been spoiled to like this? The next film, you're going to see it. You're going to stay to the credits. It's going to tie into something. You're going to get that little piece that you hang on to.
No, I think
right. Have we been spoiled? I guess that's
the right. Because when Loki's season ended and there was a like that after credit scene was a blink in you, but it was a blink it or you missed it, kind of thing. So it's like, I mean, we watched all the way to the end where they were showing that there were voice actors for other countries, and I was like, yeah, I think it's time to give up.
I did that too. It was like Deutsche, it was like Japan, and
it's very interesting, yeah. And it's so funny how sometimes, how in the credits certain names are written just in pure English because there's no translation. So, but we'll talk about Loki more in a little bit. But I enjoyed the story of Black Widow. I enjoyed the action. I did have my one little mini complaint that I had to say out loud in the theater, which is like the big final battle scene is happening, and like they're kind of they're fighting these like nameless like stormtrooper type people, like
G.I. Joes.
Yeah, like G.I. Joes. Like there's this this elite squad of like Black Widows, but they're fighting just and I so then when the Black Widows come at the end, it's a little. You get a little scene, but I felt like it should have been more. Like they, and I will admit, the whole battle takes place like in a floating city, and I was just like, and again, you knew the city was like going to like it was just like it would just be neat if like you didn't have to, and I know there's a term for this, like you have to pile on the pressure, like that the whole fight could happen without the concept of. They're falling out of the sky, so
right. Yeah,
which I'm seeing a lot of debate and questions on that on the internet. Is like Black Widow is Black Widow is not a super soldier. She's not. She doesn't have like Captain America's invulnerability and strength.
She's just well trained. Yeah,
she's just well trained, and she takes some falls in this that no matter how well you train, you're dead. But again, minimal complaint. Like this phenomenal prison breakout scene that we were just looking at. Like really enjoyed it. A nice mix of humor, which really seems to be what Marvel's always gonna have over our DC friends. So yeah, I really enjoyed Black Widow.
I enjoyed Black Widow. I don't have too many issues with it. One thing I just want to point out real quick is that, listen, I think a lot of people agree that this young lady was the one that stole the show in many ways. I know that Florence Pugh is getting phenomenal feedback. Post credits, again, spoilers, she's due to come back into the series, something like that. Great comedy relief, great just addition to the movie. I thought that she did a great job with her part. I kept asking myself, where did I see this young lady before? And I don't know if you ever saw Midsummer.
Little. I saw her Little Woman.
I was gonna say Midsummer.
I did not see Midsummer. Okay.
I was gonna say I tell Monica and I tell anybody else. Never watched that movie. I saw it once. You'll never be able to come back from it or see the world the same way. Somebody, I read the comments. They described it perfectly. The movie is like a really bad fever dream. Just like nothing wrong with the direction, nothing wrong with the acting, nothing wrong with anything visually, but the entire story, the mindset, the way they carried it out. You might not be able to come back from it. So. Florence Pugh did a great job. Now, here's something that I texted Richard about, I believe. But we're going to talk about it real quick as we head towards Loki. I can't find the article, but we heard that they were receiving death threats about the way Taskmaster was revealed. So I don't know if I shared that with you. But
I don't remember that. I mean, you could have, because I'm sometimes.
I just want to share this real quick while we have time. And let me get some volume here. Hold on one second, everybody. I'm very sorry. Give me 1 second. All right. Here and the Joker. And here we go.
Any true Marvel fan knows that Taskmaster would have to be top 5 on this list, and he is indeed at number 4. Some would probably argue that he should be even higher on this list, but I'll explain in a second why he's at 4 and not somewhere in the top 3. As for his skill set, Taskmaster possesses photographic reflexes. This means that he could flawlessly mimic any fighting style he's ever seen. So in pure hand-to-hand combat, he's almost unstoppable, because, well, he can copy any and all fighting styles. With that said, some of you may be thinking, with that ability, shouldn't he be at number 1? But no. I don't think so, guys. Because while he can copy the moves of any fighter he sees, it doesn't mean he's able to pull those moves off with the same level of power. For example, he may be able to throw a punch exactly like Captain America, but he won't have Captain America's super strength, as he can only mimic technique and not the superhuman abilities of his opponents. Nevertheless, Taskmaster is a beast of a fighter and has trained supervillains and heroes. In fact, he became the US government's combat instructor in order to clear his record. Dude is no joke.
Okay, so I was very excited for Taskmaster, like in general, when I saw that Taskmaster was the villain. But, it's no secret that I'm not as educated in the comic books as you are and some of the people that you hang out with. Do you feel like I don't want to say MCU. Do you feel like Marvel fans were robbed of the Taskmaster revelation after all these years?
No, because I just don't. I don't care enough about them. And again, because some of these, like, it's funny. Somebody complaining that Taskmaster is this man, and I don't know if it's just a man gender switch. I think it was the expectation that the Taskmaster be like it's going to take 4 of them to defeat.
Right, a lot harder
like,
of
a lot harder of a foe, and with again because that's the idea is like when he fights Spider-Man or Captain America or something, he lasts a while, but he eventually loses because he's just not he doesn't have their strength. But he can fight a Deadpool, he can fight other people on that level, Daredevil, because he can fight. So Black Widow should have been someone who, it took, but I remember thinking that when they started to fight, like, Black Widow isn't, she's in the middle of that list. Actually, she's probably above Hawkeye. Like,
it started out though, right? Like Taskmaster, they was relicking her.
It
started out, and you're like, here we go, and then
right.
it didn't match up.
Right. We've said spoilers, so if you're still listening, I didn't mind this. I didn't mind at all that it was a woman, but it wasn't a woman. It was like the quote unquote. We've seen it before. Like, oh, the mean general. He sort of survived. But he turned her into a fighting machine. Downloaded. Instead of it being the photo memory, it was downloaded all the fighting styles into her. So again, but if fans were angry when we thought the Mandarin was in the Iron Man movie, and it was just, and I think and then we'll meet maybe we'll meet the Mandarin in Shang-Chi. You can get upset, and this is one of those ones where it's like, I guess I just didn't think that much about it. I'd be curious. David still hasn't seen it, and I'll be curious to see if that's one of the things that bugs him. Same thing. Like, it won't bug him that it's a girl, but Taskmaster, So that's where I think you get into that. So I'm sorry. Can I tell you something, Ryan?
Of course you can.
Sorry. And you can edit that out. Remember when we used to do all that editing stuff?
We used to just talk trash and then edit it out.
Yeah. And you'd be like, all right, just cut all that part. Got out the last minute. All right. So if you're listening live, just forget about the last few minutes. So you saw what they did with Mandarin with that little swerve. All right. But eventually it looks like we might see Mandarin in the new Shang-Chi movie. So the door is open for Taskmaster to actually show up. And
do some damage.
And and then you can say, and again, now, if you stay with the rumors, and let's just jump into this segue, the final scene was important to me because I wanted a final scene that was moved us to our next movie or continuation or TV show. And then again, if you do a funny one, if they had done a funny scene, that would have been fine too. But they gave us one scene, and that was the return of Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Countess Allegra. And and she shows up with Yelena, who is the alive Black Widow in our continuity now, and they're talking, they're buds. Like, she's Yelena's been working for her for several years now, at least, so they're clearly a team, and this gives further proof that we're getting a Dark Avengers or Thunderbolts, whatever name they'll go by, which will have Baron Zemo and U.S. Agent John Walker and
great pick though, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Love it.
I love it, man.
Yeah,
because again, she's set up in life, so if they have her fly out and do these little, I don't think she'll
10 minutes. That's all we need, Julia.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, so it's like, all right, great. They're talking about the new Thunderbolts maybe or Dark Avengers. That's kind of cool, and her target, Black Widow's new target, is Hawkeye. So, which you're like, all right, that's, and it was funny because I'm sitting in the theater, I'm like, oh right, she signed on, Yelena's, Florence Pugh signed on to do the Hawkeye TV show. So like, and again, like that's how you do it. And you gave us a real good movie, and you gave us a scene that means something. I did see a lot of critics who wanted the movie to take place 6 years ago. Were like, well, obviously the final scene would have had to be different. Like, yeah. But
thank
whatever.
you for that.
Florence Pugh was 13 years old in high school, I think, at the time. Yeah. But regardless, Black Widow, I recommend it. It's definitely It's up there, and I actually think it's going to be that kind of movie that gives you a couple of viewings. Like when it's on, you'll leave it on because there's enough action and mix of, a family. Very interesting. It was really, really interesting. The family aspects of it too. Family.
And one thing I will say, one of my friends, and we do the same thing about Chadwick Boseman, and have having people to look up to. It's very important, especially comic book sci-fi. That's what we do. My one friend, close friend, he took a photo. He went to go see it in theaters. His daughter in the Black Widow uniform. She's super hyped to see it.
Yeah, right.
So, like Richard and I are saying, we don't care that Taskmaster's a girl. We're not talking about any gender stuff like that. But these little girls got to get their movie. They got to get Black Widow. We've seen Natasha kicking ass for years now. We got to see her do her thing. So I thought that was very cool.
Yeah. So, it's cool. And now we will jump to the TV end. A couple of days later, Loki is over. Is over. Or is it?
The series that everybody was waiting for, the villain that you love to love, Tom Hiddleston returns as Loki. And at first, when I heard this show was happening, I was like, isn't Tom too big to be doing TV shows like that? Right. But I think everybody was super excited. I know that people jumped on it. Wednesday is the new Friday. Loki. I thought it hit all the right notes. Tom Hiddleston did not disappoint. Let me just say this real quick. And without getting into an entirely different podcast, we hear Hollywood and actors talk about how they're so done with comic book movies. You're jealous. Actors, Hollywood, you're jealous. Tom Hiddleston, he makes you laugh. He makes you cry. He makes you get angry. Just such a phenomenal actor. And you hear me say this about Mackie. You hear me say this about, what's his name, Sebastian. Just all these actors that Marvel has in their stall is just phenomenal. So, and Owen Wilson, I'll never understand why he gets the hate that he gets. I love Owen Wilson. I always have. I thought he did a great job as well. I thought he was the perfect, opposite, if you will. I thought that, because you need somebody that's able to handle Loki and his personalities and stuff like that. And I thought that Mobius was a great addition. So where are you at, Richard?
Well, I don't know. Just echo you. I haven't.
You can echo me.
I don't know how to work this. Take you out of my ear. Yeah, so Loki was interesting. It didn't quite grab you like the other movies. Shannon, are you here? Yeah. Yeah, I'm echoing out apparently. Do you just hear one of me, Ryan?
I hear you. Oh, yeah, just one of you. I hear you. Just one of you.
All right, I'll be right back. Talk about.
Can't stop echoing.
So Richard will be right back. We're having technical difficulties on our end. If you're watching in, what did you think about Loki? What did you think about Loki season 1? Where are you at? Let me see if we can find some video footage here to buy some time. Oh, wait. Hey.
Hello.
You okay?
I think so. Yeah, my on-site director,
Shanna.
She just yelled at me. So, I just left and came back. So, Loki did not grab me the way WandaVision. When you do screen shares, all right. No more screen shares then.
No more screen shares. I can't screen share anymore. Richard is echoing. Okay, fine.
Our British director. Thank you.
Of audio visual.
Yeah. Or I guess if you screen share, I leave. I don't, so. Oh yeah, that's what it is. You can play when you go and play a video.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you played that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, all right. Taskmaster messing us up some more. So,
Taskmaster messing us up.
Loki was good. Tom Hiddleston, great actor. Wilson, great actor. Actually, everyone on there was great.
Yeah.
If you have never seen an HBO show called Lovecraft Country, it takes a minute and starts a little slow, but two of the main actors from that show were here. The main guard, I think B50, something like that. Wasn't B50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not B-52. That's the bomber.
It wasn't B-52, but
yeah.
So she is a major character in Lovecraft Country, and the final power that be is the star of Lovecraft Country. So it was kind of cool seeing the two of them in prominent roles in the Marvel Universe, because I think everyone we met during this show is going to be back for season 2. Spoilers. And yeah, I've heard some complaints about it being slow. There was a lot of like two people sat at a table or across the desk and talked.
Okay, so it wasn't just me.
Yeah, so there was that, but again, it wasn't, no disrespect, man. It wasn't like two SVU actors. It was, two actors who could get nominated for an Oscar tomorrow, if depending on their movie role. So that part I think helped me. And again, I'm in it. This is my life. So it had no choice but to be watched by me. And again, not to say I won't admit when something's bad, but it didn't bug me. I saw our friend Amani shared a post the other day where he was like, dude, it's not a superhero show. It was so great. It was like, it is a show about villains. There's no superheroes in it, technically. So that was kind of cool. Did see tons of complaints about, and even David said this to me, that it's a little confusing. They take Loki from right after Avengers. So they take him out of the timeline from right there.
Right.
Where
and to those of you listening and don't know, I'm sorry, Richard. Avengers,
where
they jump back in Endgame. Right.
Yeah.
Not Avengers Endgame.
Not Avengers Endgame. Right. So so Loki then has Avengers, Thor, Dark World, Thor Ragnarok. He has 4 or 5 films where his character can develop. Right. And see, and here the complaint is, well, then he just went and he developed so quickly over, but it's like, but I also think the circumstances were different. He developed slowly over the course of the 9 years of movies, through experiences, where here he actually got shown those experiences. He got talked, he kind of got force fed his entire life. So that part didn't bug me that much. Yeah. And when there was action, it was enjoyable.
Yeah, they did a good job. Yeah,
episode 5 and 6, which I think most of them your hardcore Marvel fans enjoyed more, because it had some fun things. It had some fun Easter eggs and alligator Loki. When we start up our shows, when we start up our comic book show again, there's Artist Alley, and I guarantee we're going to see tons of people selling alligator Loki drawings they've drawn themselves. So, and again, I could, depending on how cute it is, I will probably buy one. So yeah, you got to see that stuff, and then you got to finally see who was behind all of this, and it was the man who remains, or he who remains, rather. And he was wearing purple, and he was wearing Kang's colors, so I right away knew it was Kang. But for like Shanna, who is a movie fan first, and obviously he's been around and knows the characters through looking at comic books, but she wasn't sure. She wasn't sure it was Kang. It wasn't dead giveaway to her. So did you? And this actually stood out to me. The 3 timekeepers looked like they had old school Kang gear on, or was that just me? Like the helmet, now that it clicks at the end, which we'll go in a little bit into our next topic. What makes sense and when did they plan it? So loved the performance. It was that like crazy, like off the wall kind of like wacky, but like control of of the whole thing. And what a great little twist there of like, you two take over and I'll just go off. If you kill me, it's not great at all. And so again, it's kind of cool. Those of us again, if you were just watching Loki and that's all you're watching, I don't know it's probably not that interesting to you. Okay,
it's not going anywhere.
Right. But this is like,
you
okay,
be in it to win it.
Right. That's leading. That's it. She just kills him. Kang's on the board now. That's leading to major things. Really, and it's funny. I'm thinking, oh, he's back in Doctor Strange, and he's probably back in Doctor Strange, but he's apparently we have to wait all the way till February 2023, I think, or it could be wrong. Like for Ant-Man and Wasp, where Kang
Doctor
is.
Strange really got screwed over here. Like his sequels, like the original, are like what 6 years apart at this point.
No, yes, yeah. Well, that's yeah. I got I got not flamed, but somebody on Twitter the other day put up just made a comment about Doctor Strange wishes Doctor Strange has to deal with all this crap now that Scarlet Witch and Kang are around. I bet he wishes he didn't look at his text message when he got into the crash. And so I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny. And so then I was like, yeah, or you can blame Captain America and Iron Man for not getting along and having a civil war, which led to War Machine getting shot out of the sky by Vision. And because when he looks down at his cell phone, it's, we need you to consult on a 35-year-old Air Force lieutenant. And so I think myself and other people were just like, yep, no, that's War Machine. That's Rhodey, These people, again, I was just commenting on a popular post, phone just kept dinging. Nope, that's not it. Director confirmed it in a 2006, and it was like, no, the timeline is off. Doctor Strange was training years before, okay, and I was and I went, I stand corrected. Thanks for the information. I was like, yeah, guys, but again, I know that's what Twitter is people not getting it, but yeah. So Doctor Strange is going to have a lot to do with. We'll see, how prominent he is.
So when I was texting you about Kevin Feige, where we're still trying to say his name, and we know that he's listening because Kevin, you steal our ideas, but I know that they made it a point on their end to have Loki ask Owen Wilson, Morbius' character, oh, so it's okay when the Avengers mess with the timeline, and he goes on to say, well, that's kind of different, and it's like, well, how is it different, right? So when I was texting you, I was thinking to myself, and this might be a long shot, is Kevin Feige planning 6, 7, 8 years from now, whatever the case may be, when I take the boys, because, wow, they'll be 9 years old at that point, when I take them to the ultimate spectacular MCU ending, do we have the potential to see everybody come back? We see Iron Man come back. We see everyone who's passed away throughout the years, Black Widow. Do we Vision? Do we have the chance to see them all come back? Because that's where I kind of felt like it was going with all the timeline happening. My one friend Grayson, I don't know if he's listening, he always says that he feels like time hopping like that is a cop out, where it's a little too easy to just bring people back and stuff like that. But that's why I texted you about the timeline, and I think you said that was 50-50. But where are you at with that whole thing? It's getting crazy now. We're going into multiverses. There's time just all over the place. What happened to just the simple comic book heroes? And I'm not complaining, but where are you at with the whole timeline thing?
Yeah, no, and I think that's what happens is no one, you're never going to make everyone happy. So, but regardless, I think more people would tell you that they like it this way, and I don't know if I'm just being biased because I like it this way, where people, you get. You get these stories that, you kind of have to as soon as you said it, it's 9 years from now, I'll be able to bring the boys into the theater. I'm like, you got to do 2 years worth of watching all the other things to catch them up, Sorry, here, I know you need another side project. Just put it in your to-do list, because it'll take us 8 years to do, but write a book or a guide, the guide to getting your kids caught up, so you can take your kid to any Marvel movie. The idea of it just puts enough facts in, and it says listen, in 9 years, there's gonna be 40 to 50 movies you have to so you hey, there's probably just 10 you can watch. There's probably 10 you can watch that covers it, right?
And then I make the DC version. It's just paper ripped up everywhere.
Right, it's just right.
Makes absolutely no sense.
Right. So to go back to your original answer, is I like where it's going. DC has had a ton of standalone stuff. Like you see where I was just reading today, like, if they do a Joker 2, that will be to show who the Joker is. Like
right.
Arthur Blank was just, a tale of some, just a tale of a tragic story. So that's kind of like, all right, great, but like you don't know, and like that's one thing Marvel's doing for us is they know. We don't know in 2 years. Again, and then I just saw Pattinson's not getting along with his director. Like,
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I
right.
saw
So
him
you
and
just
Reeves aren't getting along.
Right. You just don't know. Like they just are not. They're not finding their Chris Evans. They're not finding their Robert Downey Jr. over there. Like
they're
they
one
find
in a
Gal
million,
Gadot,
though, aren't they?
Yeah, they find Gal Gadot and Aquaman, and they'll but they need other stuff around them to kind of support them. So yeah, I was thinking about it when you were talking today about like how much of this is planned out, and I was kind of thinking you were meaning like when you do a Black Widow, how much of that did you know years ago? And my thought is like, yeah, no, like a lot of this stuff is like, oh, like see that vest that we put Black Widow in for Infinity War? Like, why don't we bring that back? Like, and that'd be like a cute little like, nod to, and like, oh yeah, look, she's wearing the vest that Yelena gave her, like in the next movie. So that's that kind of stuff is all stuff you can be like, oh, remember Captain America when there was this boy who was pouring red punch. Like, we can say that Cap ignored him and that he's the, and he's the red punch. Like you do. That's what people are great with, especially DC. They go back and they reinvent, and they pull stories from the middle of anywhere. So even if Kevin Feige doesn't have his 100% planned out, I think he's got I think he has the right people in place to kind of like get that story to all connect. So yeah, we've got the next 2.5 full years. Like there's a bunch of things. I think Shang-Chi and Eternals are the two, like they don't really connect yet. So, so we'll see where they go and hopefully they do connect or at least give us, players. I think they're even in talks of like, connecting the TV shows and the movies where we have She-Hulk and Moon Knight and Hawkeye coming out. So,
is it too much stimulation? Do you think?
It's just
lots of show, like show after show, movie after movie right now.
Well, yeah, right, and that's the thing. Like, and if you have FOMO, like, all right, like I didn't like. We really had to binge Mayor of Easttown like the week after it was done. So like there were 7 weeks where I just I didn't watch it. Like, but then like everyone else was talking about it. Like, and I know that like if I tried to step away, so I'm like, oh, they're talking about White Lotus, or like I'm actually binging Clarice. Any Silence of the Lambs fans out there? If you are a Silence of the Lambs fan,
what channel is this on?
Channel CBS. So which is Channel 3 in the Philadelphia area. It is a beyond perfect homage to the original. I know a lot's happened and they've done prequels and sequels with Clarice, but this is Clarice a year after the Buffalo Bob incident.
Bill, you got it.
Yeah, and like Jonathan Demme. That doesn't sound right. The guy who played the original serial killer, like Ted Levine, Jonathan Demme, whatever names I say, Ted Levine. He like there's tons of film of him. They use the song and when he tucks himself and kind of dances in the mirror. Like they got the rights to those songs. They use it is really well done. They even have a lot of the same directing techniques and like so yeah. Again, and that's the thing. Like I know there's so much to watch, and it's just like. And I should be going outside, and I should be reading a book, and I should be, I should be alphabetizing my comic books for our show. So, with your permission, and the time we have left, I'm thinking about introducing this new segment as something we do every once in a while at the end of the show.
Let's do it.
By the way, were you familiar with this before I sent it to you? This
No.
Aita. It is. Am I the asshole? If anyone's ever heard of this, I will be saying the word asshole a couple times. So for I apologize if anyone's listening to this in front of their kids. It's a Reddit thread. I actually don't even know how to speak Reddit, so I apologize for that. So, Murray, if you're still listening, whatever you call it on Reddit, where somebody will post up, "Am I the asshole? Like, I'm 26, female. I went to my best friend dad's 50th birthday. I didn't like what they were serving, so I snuck out the back. Now my best friends wants me to apologize to her dad, like, and and so they go and they ask, and then people just tell them, yes, you're the asshole. You should have told your friend you were leaving her. No, your friend's the asshole. She should understand. They didn't serve your food. So Twitter, of course, they made their own little Twitter feed that shares all of the new ones when they come out. So I know Reddit is ruthless, but the fresh people getting to see it on Twitter. But in the last few weeks that I've been reading, last few months rather, I've been reading these, like, they just seem so made up. Like, like, and again, and unfortunately, I know that in the world that it doesn't have to be made up. There's craziness out there. So today's that I will read, while it does not, it sounds believable. Let's find out. All right.
I can't do it because Richard will echo.
Yep. Right. Exactly. Or I mean, yes. If you just showed the, yeah. Well, we'll leave it be. We'll have to do a practice session. All right. So, am I the asshole? So my boyfriend and I were watching Black Widow, and afterwards he wanted to know my opinion, and I said that I loved the parts at the beginning and I loved the family stuff, but I didn't really care for the action scenes. They weren't my thing. He then informed me that, no, that's not right. That there were a lot of cool Easter eggs and different like allusions to other movies in the fight scenes, and you should have recognized that, and that would have made it more interesting to you. He then doubts her, saying she watched all the movies. They argue. They've been together for 2 years. I forgot to say this. They've been together for 2 years, living together, and they're arguing over Black Widow. He actually sleeps on the couch. She accuses him of being a gatekeeper, to which I guess means like he's in charge of all things, like, and like he's deeming how she should watch these movies. So he slept on the couch that night, and they continued the fight the next day. And she's now worried that she's going to break up because of this movie. And so she wants to know if she's the asshole for sticking to her guns, which again, it's a ridiculous thing, and again, I think most of the responses were, no, you're not the asshole. Like, your boyfriend sleeping on the couch because you didn't like the movie he liked. I mean, I will tell you straight up, Shannon and I we argue about things like that. And I do sleep on the couch. That's weird. But yeah, no, like, and again, I just would never be like, you had to like it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we would argue about what something meant, right, or like how important, but like, not like, oh, well, you would have liked it more. And I guess I would think it like, oh, well, you would have gotten more out if you understood it, but that's the other thing is like, at this point, yeah, like they don't have to like it. It's a weird, that one was a weird one. I don't know if there's much debate on. I mean, it'd be a real shame. They had probably no relationship if they break up over Black Widow.
Well, you and I were talking about the rabbit hole, and I told you that, sometimes if I'm being honest, and I know it wouldn't be from you, but I don't want to. I make sure that I'm watching the shows. The shows in particular, because you get the episodes, a couple of them you got to follow along, talk about it the next week, talk about it at the end. The movies, we can just roll it on to one, watch it again. The shows, I make sure that I'm paying attention. I'll rewind if I feel like I daydreamed or looked at my phone just to see if I missed something. And when you showed me that, I was like, are there people who, we know there are people who are starting to really suck the fun out of this Marvel stuff, but like, how seriously are people taking it? Like,
yeah. And I think it's like every other fandom that we talk about on here, like, yeah, if you're super into Star Wars and a casual fan, like, yeah, like, and get Star Trek, Harry Potter, all those things, and that's what we are very much. And it's so funny because one of the reasons that people will be like, sports just aren't what they used to be. Yeah, because we gave everyone a lot more options. And so now that we have these stands, we're growing up with a world of stands. I don't remember who it was. I don't remember if it was Tammy or Shanna, but someone was trying to tell me the word "stan" had nothing to do. Stans had nothing to do with the Eminem song, and I did get that worked out. It is, yes. When people say like they stan something, or oh, those are the Kesha stans, like, yeah, it is from the obsessive fan named Stan who wrote to Eminem, but did not get a response in time. So Eminem realized a little too late. He was a little busy. So yeah. So our Marvel stands, are there some crazy ones? Yes. Yes, there are. And again, I think that's the point. Like, I can't imagine. I mean, again, I would just walk away from somebody who was trying to tell me, like, even kind of my experience with Twitter. Like, I was like, yeah, I didn't care. Okay, my little joke / thing was not accurate according to them. Like, you can't beat yourself up over it. Now, I've been 16 months out of comic book shows. Like, the little sales at the flea market, those guys are just focused on looking for books. So, is that an adult trying to mess with you?
Alexis just got home,
okay.
I was like, who's staring at me?
Okay. It's like you're getting kicked out of our recording space. So, but yeah, anyway, like, that's what happens. That's what happens. I might have lost my train of thought.
No, it's okay. It's okay because we did cover a lot tonight, and we covered a lot to begin with. So, listen, hang in there 1 second, everybody. So, final thoughts. I'll go first just because Richard gets to do the news. I'm sorry. That's my way of justifying it. Final thoughts. First thing, Black Widow. I think you said it perfectly in your blog. You kind of have to look at it differently. You kind of have to just take it for what it's worth. That's not a jab at Black Widow. That's not a jab at the movie itself. But it was just, I think, the first randomly placed film, right? Because she died in Endgame. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's right.
But no complaints. It was a solid movie. Thought everybody was good. We have a few things that will lead into other things on Disney Plus and things of that nature. Loki. I stand behind what I said about Tom Hiddleston, the cast, Owen Wilson. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that thought that it was slow at points. I did love the series itself, but after the "Am I the asshole" that you showed me, and then talking to you a little bit about Kevin Feige's timelines, I'm a little exhausted. It's not that I'm over it, but it's just like I want to enjoy it. I don't want to feel pressure. So, Loki, solid show. You got that cliffhanger ending. Looking at the statue. It's going to somehow tie into the multiverse, and we're going to see Scarlet Witch from WandaVision. She's probably going to screw up everything because she's still on a warpath. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure you know better than I do. But as always, MCU is keeping everything on track as far as we know. They have plans in the pipeline. They got shows. They got movies. Everything planned out. Phase 4 is well underway. Overall, I'm happy. How about you?
Same, everything you said. No, I kept thinking, okay, I can't repeat that. He just said it, but yeah. Again, enjoyed Black Widow. We'll watch it whenever I see it on. And Loki was solid. I did, especially like the last 2 episodes, which connected and told more of a moving story. We had more answers rather.
Sure, yeah.
And then and looking forward to, I guess, What If is next. So I don't know if it's a break. I think it's a break because it will, unless I think this will blow people's mind up. Like unless these what ifs create like, oh, is this now like, I mean, that's what they should do is have the little clock lady from Loki. Like, so and I'm sure they won't, but like traditionally there's a character called the Watcher who is the size of, of a mountain with a big bald head, and his job is just to watch and observe. And then, so he would always introduce the what if comic books and said, and there's an alternate universe that Spider-Man didn't get bit by a spider, and instead Flash Thompson got bit by a spider. And so that kind of stuff is what we'll be looking forward to for a couple weeks in August. but I definitely expect my phone to blow up with oh, in What If Episode 3, they showed Iron Man driving a blue car. Remember that comic where, and so we'll see. And it'll be really neat to finally be back at shows in Connecticut in a week and then DC in about a month. So 2 big shows for the summer, different from the normal 5 big shows and 3 small shows. But I'm also getting a lot more time to go to the beach and do things like that, Ryan. So
yeah, no, I love it.
So
No, I was gonna say, and if everybody that's listening to our loyal fans, meaning Tim, my mom, and Renee, but anybody's listening via the podcast or restream right here, Richard and I are going to meet up on Wednesday, and we're going to talk about episodes to come. I know Richard and I have talked in passing about actually doing a breakdown about Christopher Nolan's Batmans, things of that nature, doing a Joker episode, and that might be a 2-parter. We said that before. But deep diving into other things, so we're going to sit down and talk about that to keep bringing you all great content. And otherwise, would you say you have it next week? You have the thing next week?
Next Wednesday night, Thursday morning.
All right. Well, I'll see you on Wednesday.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Everybody else, bye-bye.